Story 1. I had been managing the movie theater for about 2 years when this happened. It was a weekend job that helped pay for my graduate school tuition. The work was usually pretty straightforward, dealing with the occasional issue here and there, but nothing too crazy. Mostly it was just making sure the staff showed up on time and handling customer complaints about ticket prices or sold-out shows. That Saturday afternoon was busier than usual. We had 3 big releases playing, and the lobby was packed with families trying to get snacks before their movies started. I was behind the main counter helping with the rush when I noticed a commotion over by the soda fountain. A woman was standing in front of the machine, holding a large cup. She pressed the Coke button, filled her cup about halfway, then lifted it to her lips and took a single sip. Her face twisted like she had just tasted poison. She immediately walked over to the trash can and dumped the entire cup out. My coworker, a high school kid named Danny, was wiping down the counter nearby and noticed her going back to the machine. "Danny, is everything okay with your drink?" "Karen, no. It tastes too carbonated." "Danny, oh, sorry about that. Sometimes the carbonation level varies a bit." She filled her cup again, this time with the same Coke, took another sip, made the same disgusted face, walked back to the trash, and dumped it out again. The line behind her was starting to build up. A family with 3 kids, a couple of teenagers, an older man who just wanted to get his popcorn and leave. Everyone was waiting while she monopolized the fountain. She went back a 3rd time. Same routine. Fill, sip, dump. Danny walked over to me looking stressed. "Danny, that lady has dumped out 3 sodas. Should I say something?" Let me handle it." I walked over to the fountain area just as she was starting to fill her 4th cup. "Hi there. I heard you are having trouble with the soda. Is there something I can help you with?" "Karen, yes. Your machine is broken. The carbonation level is way too high." "I apologize for that. Would you like to try a different flavor? Sometimes the Sprite or lemonade has a different feel." "Karen, I do not want a different flavor. I want Coke. I want Coke that is not aggressively carbonated." The machines are set at a standard carbonation level. That is just how the soda comes out." "Karen, then your standard is wrong." She took another sip of the 4th cup she had just filled. Her face scrunched up again, and she headed toward the trash. Ma'am, please do not dump that out. You have already wasted 3 drinks." "Karen, I paid for a drink. I should get one that tastes correct." You did get a drink. The soda is working fine. It is just carbonated like soda is supposed to be." "Karen, this is unacceptable. I demand you recalibrate the machine to my expectations." I stared at her, genuinely unsure if she was being serious. Ma'am, we cannot recalibrate the soda machine. It is set by corporate. Every theater in the chain has the same settings." "Karen, then call corporate." I am not calling corporate to change the carbonation level on a soda machine." "Karen, this is horrible customer service." You have filled and dumped out 4 drinks now. Other customers are waiting to use the fountain." She looked behind her at the line of people, all of whom were staring at her with varying degrees of annoyance. "Karen, they can wait. I am a paying customer, and I deserve a properly carbonated beverage." The family with the 3 kids looked exhausted. One of the children, a boy who could not have been older than 8, tugged on his dad's sleeve and whispered something. His dad tried to shush him, but the kid was not having it. He stepped forward slightly and looked right at the woman. "Kid, lady, it is just Coke." The entire lobby went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Everyone was watching to see what would happen next. The woman's face turned bright red. She spun around to face the kid. "Karen, excuse me?" "Kid, it is just Coke. It tastes like Coke. That is how Coke tastes." His dad put a hand on the kid's shoulder, probably regretting not stopping him sooner. "Karen, how dare you? How dare a child speak to me that way? Where are your parents?" "Dad, I am right here, and he is not wrong. You have been holding up the line for 10 minutes over soda. Karen, I have a right to a drink that meets my standards. Teenager in line, then bring your own drink. A few people in the crowd laughed. The woman looked around, realizing she was completely outnumbered. Karen, you are all ganging up on me. This is discrimination. Me, ma'am, nobody is discriminating against you. You are holding up the line and wasting product. Either take the soda as it is or get a refund. Karen, I want to speak to your manager. Me, I am the manager. She stood there, clearly trying to think of her next move. Her face was still red, and she was gripping her cup so hard I thought it might crunch. Karen, fine, give me my refund. Me, you did not pay for just the drink. You paid for a combo with popcorn and candy. I can refund the whole thing, but you will need to return the food. She looked down at the popcorn bucket and candy she had already opened and started eating. Karen, that is ridiculous. Me, those are the rules. Karen, this is theft. Me, no, you keeping food you did not pay for would be theft. She let out a sound that was half scream, half growl. Then she grabbed her popcorn and candy, stormed past me, and slammed them down on the counter. Karen, there, give me my money back. I processed the refund while she stood there fuming. When I handed her the cash, she snatched it out of my hand. Karen, I am never coming back here. Teenager, good. Someone else in the crowd clapped. Then a few more people joined in. Within seconds, half the lobby was applauding as she stormed toward the exit. She turned back one last time. Karen, you are all horrible people. Then she was gone. The door slammed behind her, and everyone went back to normal like nothing had happened. The family with the 3 kids moved up to the fountain, and the little boy filled his cup with Coke. He took a sip and smiled. Kid, tastes fine to me. His dad laughed and ruffled his hair. I went back behind the counter, and Danny looked at me with wide eyes. Danny, that was insane. Me, yeah, just another day at the movies. The rest of the shift went smoothly. No more soda machine incidents. No more demands for recalibration. Just regular customers getting their snacks and enjoying their films. But for weeks afterward, every time someone walked up to the soda fountain, Danny and I would exchange glances and wonder if it was about to happen again. It never did. Apparently, there was only one person in the world who thought our Coke was too carbonated. And thankfully, she was never coming back. Story 2. I've been managing Comfort Zone Mattress Gallery for about 7 years now. Started as a sales associate right out of high school because I needed a job and they were hiring. Turned out I was decent at it. People trust me, I guess. I learned the difference between memory foam and innerspring, figured out how to match customers with the right firmness level, and eventually worked my way up to management. It's not glamorous work, but it's steady, and I've gotten pretty good at handling all types of customers over the years. The store sits in a strip mall between a pet supply place and a tax office. We carry everything from budget mattresses to the luxury models that cost more than my first car. Most days are pretty routine. People come in, test a few mattresses by lying down for a minute or two, ask questions about warranties, and either buy something or don't. It was a Saturday afternoon, always our busiest day. I was helping a young couple compare 2 queen-sized models when I heard this loud thump from the other side of the showroom. Then another thump, and another. I excused myself and walked around the display to see what was happening. A woman was standing on one of our premium pillow-top mattresses, jumping up and down like she was on a trampoline. Not little test bounces either. Full jumps where both feet left the surface. The mattress was shaking on its platform base, and I could hear the frame creaking. Me, ma'am, please don't jump on the mattresses. You can test them by lying down or sitting on the edge. Woman, how am I supposed to know if it will support me during real-life conditions? I need to feel life support. She jumped again, even higher this time. Her shoes were still on. I could see the rubber soles leaving marks on the white mattress cover. Me, I understand you want to test it thoroughly, but jumping can damage the internal structure. We need you to step down, please. Woman, this is how I sleep. I'm a very active sleeper. I need to know this mattress can handle my lifestyle. Me, nobody sleeps by jumping. Please step down now. I used my firm manager voice, the one that usually gets people to comply. She ignored me completely and moved to a different mattress, a memory foam model that cost about $3,000. She climbed up and started jumping again. Woman, I need to feel life support. This is a major purchase. I deserve to test it properly. The young couple I'd been helping had stopped looking at mattresses and were now watching this scene unfold. Another customer, an older man who'd been examining adjustable bases, was shaking his head. My sales associate looked at me with a helpless expression. Me, ma'am, if you don't stop jumping immediately, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. Woman, you can't tell me how to shop. The customer is always right. She bounced higher, her arms flailing for balance. The memory foam wasn't responding the way the pillow top had. It was absorbing her momentum in weird ways, making her movements unpredictable. I saw what was about to happen a split second before it did. Her ankle rolled sideways on the landing. She windmilled her arms, trying to catch herself, but the soft surface gave her nothing to push against. She toppled sideways and fell off the mattress, landing hard on the showroom floor. The thud was sickening. For a moment, everyone froze. Then she started screaming. Woman, I'm injured. This is your fault. Your mattress attacked me. Me, are you hurt? Do you need me to call an ambulance? Woman, I need a refund. Me, you don't work here. You haven't purchased anything. Woman, I'm injured because of your unsafe softness. This mattress is a death trap. I demand compensation. She was sitting on the floor, rubbing her hip and glaring at me like I'd personally pushed her. I pulled out my phone and started recording, something I'd learned to do whenever situations got weird. Me, ma'am, there's a sign right there that clearly states no jumping on the mattresses. I pointed to the large laminated sign attached to the display platform she'd just fallen from. It had a red circle with a line through a stick figure jumping on a bed. The words, "Please do not jump on mattresses," were printed in large bold letters. There were identical signs throughout the showroom. Woman, signs are suggestions for the weak. Me, signs are store policies. You violated our policy, ignored multiple warnings, and injured yourself through your own actions. We're not liable for that. Woman, I'll sue. My lawyer will destroy this place. You sold me a dangerous product. Me, again, you didn't buy anything. And we have security cameras that recorded everything. I gestured toward the ceiling where our camera domes were clearly visible. Her eyes followed my gesture, and I watched her expression shift as she realized her entire performance had been documented. Woman, those cameras are illegal. You can't record people without consent. Me, actually, there's a notice on the front door stating that the premises are under video surveillance. You consented by entering the store. My sales associate had moved to the computer and was already pulling up the footage. The older customer who'd been watching walked over to me. Older customer, I saw the whole thing. She was jumping like a maniac. You warned her multiple times. I'll be happy to give a statement if she tries anything. The woman struggled to her feet, still rubbing her hip. She looked around at all of us, clearly realizing that nobody was on her side. The young couple had their phones out now too. Everyone had seen what happened. Woman, this store is a nightmare. Your customer service is abusive. I'm reporting you to corporate. Me, we're an independently owned franchise, but feel free to try. She limped toward the door, muttering about lawsuits and discrimination. Before she left, she turned back one more time. Woman, you haven't heard the last of me. Me, please don't come back. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frame. The showroom was quiet for a moment. Then the older customer started laughing. Older customer, in 40 years of shopping, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever witnessed. The young couple ended up buying the mattress they'd been testing. The older man bought an adjustable base, Word spread somehow, and we actually had people come in the next week asking if we were the store where someone fell off a mattress. One guy joked that our mattresses must be really soft if they were dangerous. We never heard from her again. No lawyer, no complaint, nothing. I kept the security footage for 6 months just in case, but she apparently decided that jumping on mattresses and ignoring warning signs wasn't the best foundation for a lawsuit. Story 3. I had been cutting hair for about 7 years when this happened. I worked at a mid-range salon in a shopping district, the kind of place where you could walk in without an appointment and get decent service for a reasonable price. Most days were pretty routine. Soccer moms getting trims, college students wanting something trendy, older folks maintaining their usual styles. I had seen plenty of difficult customers over the years, but nothing like what happened that Thursday afternoon. The woman walked in around 2 without an appointment. The receptionist checked the schedule and told her I had an opening. She seemed normal enough at first. Well-dressed, polite, maybe a little intense with the way she kept checking her phone, but nothing that raised any red flags. When she sat down in my chair, I did what I always did. Asked her what she wanted. Me, so what are we doing today? Karen, I need 2 inches off the length, some layers around the face, and side-swept bangs. Me, sounds good. Any particular style you are going for? Karen, just what I said. 2 inches, layers, bangs. Me, perfect. Let me get you shampooed and we will get started. The shampoo went fine. She did not talk much, which was actually a relief. Some clients want to chat the whole time, and by the end of a long shift, my brain is usually fried. I brought her back to the chair, combed out her hair, and got to work. I measured carefully, sectioned everything properly, and cut exactly what she asked for. 2 inches off the bottom, layers framing her face, side-swept bangs that hit just above her eyebrow. It took about 40 minutes, and when I finished, I styled it with a round brush and showed her the back with a hand mirror. Me, what do you think? She stared at herself in the mirror. Just stared. Not moving, not blinking, not saying anything. I figured maybe she was just taking it in, letting the new look settle. Some people need a minute to adjust. Then her face started to change. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth fell open, and suddenly she let out this scream that made everyone in the salon jump. Karen, you ruined my destiny. Me, I am sorry. What? Karen, my destiny. You destroyed it. She was still staring at herself in the mirror, looking absolutely horrified. The other stylists stopped what they were doing. Clients in other chairs were turning to look. The receptionist had her hand on the phone like she was ready to call someone. Me, ma'am, I cut exactly what you asked for. 2 inches, layers, and side-swept bangs. Karen, no, this is all wrong. This is not what I envisioned. Me, you told me specifically what you wanted, and I did exactly that. Karen, you do not understand. I needed this haircut to align with my life path. I have been planning this for weeks. My astrologer told me that today was the perfect day for a transformation, and you ruined it. I had no idea what to say. I glanced over at my coworker Jessica, who was cutting someone's hair 2 chairs down. She had her phone out and was definitely recording. Me, I can adjust the bangs if they are too short or too long. We can fix anything you do not like. Karen, you cannot fix destiny. She grabbed the arms of the salon chair and spun herself around to face me directly, which was not easy since the chair was hydraulic and heavy, but she managed it with this wild look in her eyes. Karen, I demand a cosmic correction discount. Me? A what? Karen, you heard me. You interfered with the universe's plan for my life. The least you can do is give me a massive discount. Me, ma'am, you got the haircut you asked for. Karen, I asked for a destiny transformation. This is just hair. Other clients were definitely recording now too. I could see at least 3 phones pointed in our direction. Jessica was not even pretending to cut hair anymore. She was just standing there watching with her phone up. The salon owner, a woman named Patricia, who usually stayed in her office doing paperwork, came out to see what the commotion was about. Patricia, is everything all right out here? Karen, no, your stylist ruined my entire future. Patricia looked at me, then at the woman, then at her hair. Patricia, your hair looks lovely. What exactly is the problem? Karen, the problem is that I came here seeking spiritual alignment through a haircut, and instead I got this. This mundane, ordinary, completely non-transformative style. Patricia, you came to a walk-in salon. We cut hair. We do not do spiritual alignment. Karen, that is false advertising. Patricia, we never advertise spiritual services. Karen, it was implied. Me, it absolutely was not. Karen spun back around to face the mirror and started running her hands through her hair, pulling at the layers like she could somehow rearrange them into something more cosmically significant. Karen, this is a disaster. An absolute disaster. Mercury must be in retrograde. Jessica, still recording, could not help herself. Jessica, Mercury is not in retrograde right now. Karen, how would you know? Jessica, I checked my astrology app this morning. Mercury is direct. The woman looked at Jessica like she had just been personally betrayed by the entire cosmos. Karen, then this is even worse. There is no planetary excuse for this catastrophe. Patricia stepped closer to the chair. Patricia, ma'am, you need to calm down. Your hair looks exactly like what you described. If you are unhappy, we can make adjustments, but we are not giving you a discount because of astrology. Karen, this is discrimination against spiritually conscious people. Patricia, this is a hair salon. Karen, I want to speak to corporate. Patricia, I am corporate. I own this salon. That seemed to finally break through the woman's meltdown. She sat there for a moment, realizing she had run out of people to escalate to. Karen, fine. Then I am leaving a horrible review online. Everyone will know that you people are destiny destroyers. Patricia, you are welcome to leave whatever review you want. The woman stood up from the chair, grabbed her purse, and started heading toward the door. Then she stopped and turned back around. Karen, I am not paying for this. Patricia, yes, you are. Karen, no. I refuse to pay for a haircut that ruined my life trajectory. Patricia, then I am calling the police. Karen, you would not dare. Patricia pulled out her phone. Patricia, try me. They stared at each other for what felt like an entire minute. Finally, the woman stomped back over to the reception desk, threw her credit card down, and waited while the receptionist processed the payment. Receptionist, would you like to leave a tip? Karen, absolutely not. She signed the receipt with this aggressive scribble, grabbed her card, and stormed out. Through the front window, we could see her standing on the sidewalk, looking at her reflection in a store window and running her hands through her hair again. As soon as she was gone, the entire salon erupted. Jessica was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. Other clients were asking if that really just happened. Patricia just shook her head and went back to her office. I cleaned up the hair around my chair and tried to process what had just occurred. In 7 years of cutting hair, I had dealt with people who cried, people who yelled, people who tried to get free services, but I had never had anyone accuse me of ruining their destiny. Jessica came over, still holding her phone. Jessica, I got the whole thing on video. Me, of course you did. Jessica, this is going to be legendary. She was right. By the next day, multiple people had posted their videos online. The woman became a minor viral sensation for about a week. People were making memes about cosmic correction discounts and destiny haircuts. I never saw her again. No surprise there. But for months afterward, whenever someone sat down in my chair and asked for layers, I would think about that afternoon and wonder if I was about to ruin anyone else's alignment with the universe. So far, so good. Apparently destiny is pretty resilient. Story 4. I work remotely as a software developer, which means I can pretty much live anywhere with decent internet. 2 years ago, I moved to a beach town on the coast. The rent was cheaper than the city, the pace of life was slower, and I could actually afford a small house instead of a cramped apartment. My fiancé teaches at the local elementary school, and we've built a nice little life here. The beach is public access, which means we spend a lot of our free time there. It's one of the main reasons we chose this place. Saturday was my birthday, and my fiancé planned a beach cookout with some friends. Nothing fancy, just burgers and hot dogs on a portable grill, some cold drinks in the cooler, and a few hours of hanging out in the sun. We got to the beach around noon and set up in our usual spot, far enough from the water that we wouldn't get soaked by high tide, but close enough to enjoy the view. There were maybe a dozen other groups scattered across the beach, everyone doing their own thing. Plenty of space for everyone. I got the charcoal going while my fiancé and our friends set up chairs and towels. The grill was one of those small portable ones, the kind designed specifically for beach use. We'd used it dozens of times without any issues. The smoke was minimal, just a light stream drifting up and dispersing in the ocean breeze. We'd been there maybe 20 minutes when I noticed a woman marching across the sand toward us. She was coming from way down the beach, at least 25 meters away, maybe more. She had her hand up shielding her eyes from the sun, and even from a distance, I could see she looked angry. "Woman, excuse me, your smoke entered my breathing zone." She was shouting before she even got close to us. My fiancé looked up from the cooler where she was organizing drinks. Our friends stopped their conversation mid-sentence. Everyone turned to stare at this woman who was now standing about 3 meters from our setup, hands on her hips. Me, "I'm sorry, are we bothering you? We can try to angle the grill differently if the smoke is drifting your way." "Woman, you shouldn't be grilling at all. This is a public beach. That smoke is a public health hazard." My fiancé stood up, trying to be diplomatic. "Fiancé, we're allowed to use portable grills here. We checked the beach regulations before we came. The smoke isn't even going in your direction. The wind is blowing it out toward the water." "Woman, I can smell it from my spot. You're polluting everyone's air. This is environmental terrorism." One of our friends, who works as a nurse, chimed in. "Friend, ma'am, you're standing pretty far from your spot if you walked all the way over here. The smoke is dissipating long before it reaches that distance." "Woman, don't gaslight me about what I can smell. I know what I experienced." She was getting louder now, attracting attention from other beachgoers. A family with young kids who'd been building a sandcastle nearby packed up their stuff and moved further down the beach. I felt bad about that, even though we weren't doing anything wrong. "Me, look, we're just trying to have a nice birthday cookout. We're not breaking any rules. If you don't like the smell, there's plenty of beach for you to move to." That was apparently the wrong thing to say. Her face went red, and she looked around like she was searching for something to validate her outrage. Then she did something I still can't quite believe. She lifted her foot and kicked sand toward our grill. Not a little bit of sand either. She did this big sweeping kick that sent a spray of sand flying toward our cooking area. Some of it hit the grill. Some of it hit our food. Most of it hit the cooler that my fiancé had left open. The ice, the drinks, the container of potato salad, all of it got a coating of sand. "Fiancé, what is wrong with you?" The woman was winding up for another kick, but the sand was loose and deep where she was standing. Her foot slipped out from under her. She flailed her arms, trying to catch her balance, but her momentum was already carrying her forward. She fell directly into our cooler, her hip slamming into the hard plastic edge before her upper body crashed into the ice and drinks inside. The cooler tipped over from the impact, spilling ice water and cans across the sand. She ended up on her hands and knees in the wet sand, completely soaked. For a second, nobody moved. It had happened so fast that we were all just processing what we'd seen. Then my fiancé's instincts kicked in. She's a teacher. She's trained to help people who fall. She rushed over and reached out to help the woman up. "Fiancé, are you okay? Here, let me help you." The woman slapped her hand away. "Woman, don't touch me. This is assault." "Me, nobody touched you. You fell into our cooler after kicking sand at us. My friend pulled out his phone and started recording. He'd worked retail long enough to know that situations like this could get twisted around later. Woman, you people set a trap. You put that cooler there deliberately, and now you're attacking me while I'm injured. This is hospitality assault. Fiancé, hospitality assault isn't a thing, and we were trying to help you. Woman, you're all witnesses against me. You're conspiring. I'm calling the police. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, still sitting in the wet sand next to our overturned cooler. She was completely drenched, her cover-up clinging to her, sand stuck to her arms and legs. She started yelling into her phone about being assaulted at the beach. Other beachgoers had started gathering at a distance, watching the scene. One guy called out, "Random beachgoer, lady, we all saw you kick sand at them and fall on your own. Woman, you're all in on it. This whole beach is against me." The police showed up about 15 minutes later. By then, the woman had moved back to her original spot, but kept shouting accusations across the sand at us. We showed the officers our beach permit for the grill and the video my friend had taken. Several other people came forward to give statements about what they'd witnessed. The officer who talked to her came back shaking his head. "Officer, she's claiming you assaulted her, but the video clearly shows otherwise. She also admitted to kicking sand at your food, which is technically destruction of property. Do you want to press charges?" I looked at my ruined potato salad, our overturned cooler, and the woman who was now sitting alone on her towel glaring at us. Me, no, I just want to enjoy what's left of my birthday. Can you just ask her to leave us alone? Officer, I can do that, and if she bothers you again, call us immediately. They went back and talked to her for a few more minutes. She packed up her stuff and left the beach entirely, still shouting about injustice and conspiracy. We salvaged what food we could, rinsed out the cooler in the ocean, and managed to finish cooking. The burgers were great, despite everything. My fiancée bought me a new cooler the next week. She had it engraved with "Hospitality Assault Survivor" as a joke. It's become our favorite beach story to tell.